worried about the campaign. About
did you contact them or did they contact you, Luke? Simple question, mate. Did they contact you or did you contact them? Then we know whether you're running a smear campaign. So, every time we've ever had a platform, any social media platform, PayPal, anything, the Metro newspaper attack us. And they're doing it again. So they've contacted my lawyers, solicitors. I hope you're well. I'm Luke, a reporter at Metro newspaper in the UK. We're getting in touch. We believe you represent Tommy Robinson. I'm getting in touch about how a new podcast on Spotify. We have heard from anti-racism groups and politicians who are critical of Spotify's decision to give him a platform and want to give him a chance to respond. This is an attack, yeah? In the first podcast, he and his guests talk about the rising immigration and birth rates from Muslims in the Western countries, as well as remigration. How dare we? You know what I mean? He also mentions that half of Somalia is coming to the UK. Well, they wanna, yeah? Various groups, including Stand Up to Racism and Tell Mama, both frauds, as well as politicians such as Sarah Owens, Labour Party, opposing free speech, of course, have said it is wrong that he's allowed to express these views on this podcast. It's wrong that he has free speech. Nothing breaks any laws. One campaign group has noted that Spotify's own rules explicitly prohibit content that dehumanises or incites violence against marginalised communities. Well, the only marginalised community right now is the white English community and the white British community. We're the marginalised ones. We're the ones under attack. We're the ones being raped and we're the ones being murdered. And we're talking up for them. They accuse him of promoting violence. When am I promoting violence? Promoting hatred and racism in what he says. And he should not be legitimised as a political figure. Some have called for Spotify to take down his podcast. Some have called, not them. So they launched this campaign. They will run this story and then Spotify will be bombarded. Once they go mainstream, the Metro, big newspaper, London, it will cause an avalanche of protests against Spotify. That's what this is. This is an organised attack by Luke Alsford. Luke Alsford, who of course, looks like this. Of course, that's Luke Alsford. I'm going to attack free speech, Luke Alsford. Yeah. So now we're going to ring Luke Alsford and see what he's got to say. Ask him a few questions. Put him in the hot spot for a minute. Look at him. Look. Typical journalist trying to shut down free speech.
Hi, hello, who's this?
Hi, Luke. It's Tommy Robinson.
Oh, hi. Thanks for calling me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, I mean...
I just want to have the opportunity, Luke, to answer your questions.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, as I say, we just heard from some campaigners, anti-racism campaigners, about kind of your podcast and would say it's going to be fueling violence and sort of hatred towards communities. Yeah, what do you have to say in response?
Luke, have you watched the podcast?
I've listened to some of it. I haven't listened to all of it yet.
Well, maybe you should listen to it and watch it before you ask me questions, no? Because anything you've watched, is there anything that's fueling violence, inciting violence in any way, breaks any law?
Well, I think there's 2 points. Actually, to answer your question, they talk about, in the interview, there is a talk about needing to rise up the birth rates because of the high Muslim birth rates in the West. Your guest mentioned migration, which is controversial for anti-racism campaigners, and also you mentioned a comment about half of Somalia coming to the UK. So to that, but also I think a lot of them are just responding to, obviously they have a general...
Luke, let me ask you the question again, Luke. Yeah. Luke, is there anything, because you just mentioned that we're talking about high birth rates of Muslims compared to non-Muslims, that's a fact. So is there anything in that podcast which you can tell me now that is fueling violence or encouraging violence or inciting violence?
Anti-racism groups.
No, Luke. Forget the anti-racism groups. Let me tell you something. You quoted Tell Mama, right? You quoted Tell Mama, yeah? Tell Mama lost a legal pursuit in 2014 against Andrew Gilligan because they lied. They exaggerated anti-Muslim attacks. They exaggerated them, fact, right? They are not a legitimate source for you as a journalist to ring me up to quote them. What you're trying to do here as mainstream media, and for the Metro, you do this every time, you're trying to attack a platform that I have a platform on, i.e. Spotify. You want them to remove me. This is an attack on free speech. So I'll ask you again, as a journalist, Luke, from the Metro. Is there anything that you watched in that video? Let's forget what the people who exaggerate hate crimes say. I'm asking you, as a journalist, you're educated, you've studied. Is there anything said in that podcast that incites violence in any way?
First of all, I said that we're here to reflect what other people say. I don't want to, but she's calling things off someone that can be deemed as inflammatory and in a very tense environment. That is, like, these groups could have argued that could fuel people's discrimination or attacks. Obviously, there's been a lot of very tense scenes in parts of the UK right now over race.
Luke, can I ask you a question, Luke? Luke, because you're not making Luke, if I described all the non-Muslims in my video as cattle, would that be dehumanising? Because you mention in here, let me see where you mention it. You mention that Spotify has a rule already that prohibits content that dehumanises or incites violence. We've established you're not going to answer, but there's nothing that incites violence. If I described them all as cattle, would that be dehumanising for them?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Well, the Quran describes all non-Muslims as cattle. So would you agree that the Quran, based on your opinion, is dehumanising towards non-Muslims? Luke.
It's not about my personal opinion. It's about...
Well, it is about your personal opinion. You're a journalist, and you're trying to write a hit piece saying I'm dehumanising people. I'll give you a fact. Now, Sarah Owens MP, I guess she's Labour, right?
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me. A Labour MP who opposes free speech as well. You're a journalist. You've watched the interview. There's nothing dehumanising. There's nothing illegal, and there's nothing that's not factual. Okay? There's two people having a conversation. Do you believe in free speech or not? You.
I do believe in free speech, yes.
So why are you trying to shut down a platform for exercising free speech, of which we don't care? We don't care what Tell Mama say. I've established already that they fake hate crime statistics. That's a fact proven in a court of law. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Why are you running a hit piece on a video which you know doesn't incite violence? Why are you doing that?
As I said, there's 2 points.
Yeah, there's 3 points to every argument. There's our point, there's the opposition's point, then there's your point, Luke. There's a man that's writing the bloody article. We've established that you think the Quran is dehumanising towards non-Muslims. You said it. You said if you describe someone as cattle, it's dehumanising. That's the Quran. Okay? That's how it talks about non-Muslims in the Quran. Cattle. Mehdi Hassan's actually famous quoted as saying this.
In this respect, the Quran describes the atheists as cattle. As cattle, as those who go with the crowd. And do not stop and wonder about this world.
So we've established that's what you think. Now, you're a journalist. You said you believe in free speech. Do you believe I should have the right to a platform on Spotify? You, Luke, as a journalist that believes in free speech.
We've talked to groups who are concerned not just with the content, but the fact that you as a person are speaking on these platforms, and that's their... would love to hear your response to that as well.
Luke, I'm going to give you a response right now because it's boring. My response to you is no matter what your newspaper do, because this is an attack on free speech, no matter what Sarah Owens MP for Labour has to say, Tell Mama or any of these government-funded NGO groups whose job is to criticise, dehumanise, deplatform and attack anyone who exercises their free speech, we're not going to stop our discussions and our talks. Whether that by on Spotify or on X. This is going on X as well. So it doesn't matter if you manage to get us deplatformed off of Spotify, because that's what you're doing. Yeah? You're not a journalist. You act as a propaganda hit piece. Okay, if you are a journalist, write in your report that comes out here that what I've said and give the quote of the Quran that dehumanises non-Muslims. And then call for anyone promoting Islam on Spotify to be banned because it's promoting dehumanising language against non-Muslims. You're not going to do that, are you?
Well, definitely fairly reflect what you've said in this conversation.
Okay, will you give the fact that Tell Mama in 2014, 100% lost a court case against Andrew Gilligan because they faked hate crime statistics, and that's who you're using as your legitimate source. And also, will you also write that you have watched the entirety of the video as a journalist and there's nothing illegal in there? Nothing inciting violence in there? Nothing. Or is this just going to be a smear piece to try and put pressure on Spotify to remove us?
Yeah, you cut out
Okay.
a little bit, but I will 100% listen to the whole pod, because then we'll quote segments from it.
When you listen to the whole post, okay, yeah. Is there anything wrong with calling for remigration of criminals, illegal immigrants, and people who are a burden on the state? Is there anything wrong with that? Is it wrong with saying illegal immigrants should be remigrated to their countries?
It's not from my view. Some anti-racism groups would argue that is
Anti-racism groups. Look who are they funded by? I'll tell you what. You're a journalist. Have you done the investigation into who funds Stand Up to Racism?
Myself personally, no.
Do you think you should before you quote them? Before you quote them as a legitimate source, I'm asking you. You're the journalist here. If I was going to quote someone as a journalist. If I was going to quote someone as a journalist, I'd investigate and look into who I'm quoting. I'm asking you, were you aware Tell Mama had lost a court case for faking and exaggerating hate crime statistics? Were you aware of that?
So you would say that you would dispute any kind of group that is concerned about your presence on
people? No, people I'm more concerned with you, the Metro newspaper, than these groups, because I know who funds these groups. I'm more concerned with why you, a journalist who believes in free speech, is attempting to run a smear campaign to have me removed off of Spotify. That's what I'm more concerned with. I know who Tell Mama are, I know who funds them, I know who Stand Up to Racism, I know who funds them, and I know the Labour Party and their opposition to free speech, whether it be under Andy Burnham or Keir Starmer. You, Luke, you're the journalist here. You're the journalist who believes in free speech.
We're not making any calls for you to be platformed. We're representing the views of some groups that we've spoken to who are concerned about your presence. And
can I ask you? Did you speak? Can I ask you? Remember? Did I ask you? And this could end up in a legal suit. Did you contact Tell Mama, or did they contact you to ask for their opinion? I want to know, because I will contact lawyers about this. So did you contact Tell Mama, or did Tell Mama contact you, the newspaper?
We've spoken to groups.
I'm asking you, who contacted who? You contact them or they contact you?
I really appreciate
Luke, you contacted them, didn't you, Luke? Luke, you contacted them, didn't you? You're running a SMIT, so you've contacted groups to say negative. No, simple answer to the question. Did you contact Stand Up to Racism and Tell Mama, or did they contact you?
Some groups have been posting.
Did you contact them or did they contact you, Luke? Simple question, mate. Did they contact you or did you contact them? Then we know whether you're running a smear campaign and a bullshit story.
We're not running.
You've contacted them. So you've contacted them, you've seen them on Spotify, you've contacted groups that you know hate me in order to get some negative words, then you can run a big story in order to put pressure to deplatform me off of Spotify, right, Luke? Mr. I believe in free speech. Mr. I've investigated fuck all.
No, I'm hearing you now. We want to give you the chance to respond to these comments.
And I'm responding. I'm responding to them. I've responded to what? You can't even answer a question. Did you contact Tell Mama or did Tell Mama contact you? Simple question. Who contacted who, Luke?
We're not the ones. I'm not the one running this podcast.
You contacted them. So you're just you're on the hit piece.
I'd love to be able to explain in my article from your point. I think it's so important that you should be able to speak about this. I'd love to be able to quote you on that.
But I'll tell you why, Luke, it's important that I'll tell you why, Luke, it's important that people like me are able to do this, because wankers like you don't. That's why, Luke. You're not the media anymore. Your readership, your viewership is not important anymore. Yeah, platforms like ours are. That's why you're a dying breed, mate. Yeah, so that's why it's important, because wankers like you and your newspaper don't cover the truth. So that leaves a market for me. In steps me and my media brand. Yeah, and you hate it. Because you can't control it. None of you can. Anyway, conversation over, Luke. Have a good day. I'll wait for your shit fucking hit piece in the paper, yeah? See you later.